All right, clad in white and all, with the whiteboard behind me. I thought, it's a lot of white, so I'm just going to throw up a bunch of defunct logos just so it looks kind of fun. And I'm going to apologize for the fact that I have a cold, trying to ignore it, power through it, whatnot, but it's there. I hate it. Anyways, I wanted to look at the restricted free agent class of 2019 because it's remarkable. And what's remarkable is we're now in a brand new age of hockey where a majority of your goals are coming from young guys. And it's happening league-wide. So we talk a lot about Toronto and their young core and how they're going to keep everybody together. But this is going to become a thing now where these kids come out of entry-level contracts. They get their 8-year contracts. They're going to get about $9-10 million each. And you're going to end up with teams that may have trouble with their depth. And it may have nothing to do with actual Stanley Cup success or anything. It's just good drafting and a guy with really good numbers who's 21 years of age and happens to be a restricted free agent. And it's tricky because you don't necessarily know at age 21 or 22 who the best players are going to be when they're 27, 28. And the other risk is this. So we know that a majority of goals are coming from players aged, I think it's 24 and under now. If you pay all these guys all that big money right until they're 29, you're going to be drafting more kids who see where I'm going with this. If you don't handle this right, you're going to end up with a problem down the road. So I'll be very interested to see how many of these guys reach restricted free agency. Now, people keep saying, oh, there's going to be offer sheets this summer because look at the list. My answer to that is there's not going to be offer sheets this year because it's kind of affecting about half the league. The amount of restricted free agents, and then you look at the amount of teams that even with an increase in the salary cap to $83 million, they're going to have a really hard time putting a competitive team on the ice if they're just going to be going willy-nilly with the offer sheets. And the offer sheets almost never end up being a big deal. You never end up looking and going, gee, that offer sheet's really what made Shea Weber's career. It's a good thing for him. Offer sheets normally either backfire. They just get matched anyways, and then you end up with a contract that either you buy it out or you trade it. So I just can't see it. Leading the way, and I just went based on points. So they're ranked based on points currently to this point in the season. Mikko Rantanen's number 1, Mitch Marner, Braden Point, Matt Tkachuk, Sebastian Aho, Timo Meier, Patrick Laine, Austin Matthews, William Karlsson, and Brock Besser. To me, these are the top tier restricted free agents who are going to make a ton of money this summer. And for my money anyways, I think Rantanen's probably going to be one of the top 3 paid. I think Matthews and Marner will be the other 2. But Braden Point is making an excellent argument for getting, $9-10 million? Same with Tkachuk in Calgary. Sebastian Aho's worth how much to Carolina? What do they have if they lose him? Not much. So, again, I think a lot of players are going to make exorbitant amounts of money this summer. And then you get into the tier below. And, I mean, these guys are going to get a lot of money as well. Just, I don't see them in the $8 million plus. To me, those are the guys who could make $8 million plus. And I have Karlsson there because he had 40 goals last year. He has 26 points this year. But the question becomes, how much is Karlsson worth to Vegas? And how serious is McPhee about keeping him? Or is he going to try to lowball him with a contract offer around what he's making now? And again, if you're Karlsson, are you looking for long-term stability, or is he going to take another 2-year deal? Is he going to say, well, I'll take a 2-year deal because I think I can get to 40 again, or is he looking for long-term stability? So that'll be an interesting one to watch. So on the next level below, and again, these guys are going to get paid. This is, I'm figuring $5 million plus. Kyle Connor, Jake Gensel, Teuvo Teravainen, Colin White, Kasperi Kapanen, Kevin Labanc, Nikolai Goldobin, Nick Schmaltz, Zach Werenski, Ryan Murray, Jacob Trouba, Essa Lindell, and Charlie McAvoy. Yes, I think Goldobin could end up getting a lot of money. If Goldobin ends up putting up 45 points, what's that worth in today's NHL? Salary cap's going up. You can't use compare. See, that's the thing too. Comparables, I think with contracts, we're going to see players arguing it a little different. So rather than looking and going, Billy makes $2.5 million. I'm a free agent this summer. But when Billy signed his contract, the salary cap was at X amount. That $2.5 million was worth X amount on the cap. Because the cap's gone up, I am now worth $3.25 million, which would be the same percentage of cap money as Billy got when he signed. I think that's where we're headed. And I think because of that, when people point out like, oh, well, look what Crosby gets. Right. But what percentage of the cap was that when Crosby signed it? And this is where things have changed. We are now looking at guys who were rookies last year or the year before who now are going to get paid the big bucks, that huge contract. So we're in an age now where I think guys are going to get paid a lot younger. I think there's going to be less incentive for them to stay longer in the game. I think you're going to see more guys retiring at a younger age, especially if they're playing in an organization that, you know, there's not much winning going on. You've already got $60 million in the bank. You may see guys more willing to retire. And then when you look at all the CTE discussion, long-term injuries guys deal with, if these guys can bounce out of the league when they're 28, 29 years of age, they're still in their 20s. They've still got, 5 decades, 6 decades left. Why in the world would you look at hockey and say, oh, I'll play another couple of years, unless you still have that competitive drive to win a Stanley Cup or to prove yourself? But as the league keeps getting younger, once these guys are 28, 29, odds are they're not scoring at the same rate. Not all of them, anyways. Some of them will be, but not all of them. And the general manager that figures out how to navigate this is going to be the general manager that 5 or 6 years from now we look back at and say, wow, he was genius. Because this is unexplored territory. This is new. And for all of the younger hockey fans that are saying, well, these guys all deserve to get paid $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 million. It is a new phenomenon. We're looking at superstar money being paid to guys based on the potential to be that superstar. The belief that after 1 or 2 solid seasons in the NHL, they are that superstar. And some of these guys are going to end up being busts later on. There have been plenty of instances where a guy will have a really solid first couple years in the league, and then he falls off. Now, in the purely speculative department, I have Travis Konechny, Jacob Vrana, Neil Pionk, Kevin Fiala, Adrian Kempe, and Ivan Provorov. Now, I picked those guys because either they're high draft picks or they're highly thought-of prospects that how a team navigates their contracts could go a long way to ensuring that they stay under the cap and that they're smart with their money. And those two things, it's tricky to be both. But the team that can do both, fantastic. Like Tampa's going to have an issue because now Braden Point's up. So Braden Point's up. That's going to be another massive payout for a guy, especially when you look at what Stamkos is making and Stamkos' production compared to Points. Points producing more. Points agent could absolutely say, when Stamkos signed that, it was worth this amount of cap. It was seen as a discount. My client's scoring at this rate. He'll take the same discount on the same, with a cap at $83 million, so he'll still make more money. And I don't have a problem with that. So when you look at this, like Travis Konechny, first-round draft pick, looks really, really solid. But when you look at his production, is he worth $5+ million right now? Probably not. So these are the guys I look at and I say, you know what? Probably a bridge deal. Provorov, rough season for that blue line in Philadelphia. Absolutely could see a bridge deal for him. But I'm not even to the unrestricted free agents this summer. We're not even talking about the UFAs. So what I'm starting to wonder is, as the years go on, and this is a question I have for you guys, as the years go on, are we going to see these kids coming out of their entry-level contracts, making that $8, $9, $10 million a year or more, so that when the UFAs, when the guys at 28 and 29 are free agents, they actually make less? Because there's less room under the cap to keep them. And there's less incentive for teams to pay them. Because it's been proven this season that your scorers are your young kids. So, and I always noticed that when I was looking at Hall of Famers, that they usually scored the best in their early 20s. Well, now it seems like it's just all over. It's not just a Hall of Famer. Almost all players now, it seems like their production is best when they're 22, 23, 24. So for these guys who are 28, 29 as UFAs, they may get paid less. There may be less demand for them on the market because I may look and I may say, yeah, I could get that UFA right now. I could pay him $8 million, but I've got these two kids who are excellent, who are going to command maybe more than that next summer as RFAs. And I've got these other prospects coming up who may be just as good. I can't afford to pay him now because it may mean I can't pay the other guys down the road. An example with Toronto, if they're going to keep everybody together of that talented core, then it is highly likely that we see Kasperi Kapanen, he's right there. I was looking for him on the board. Kasperi Kapanen could likely be on his way out of Toronto because you're trying to keep everybody together. Jake Gardiner may very well be he's on his way out of Toronto because you're trying to keep that core, including Matthews and Marner, employed for a very long time. And it is going to become increasingly difficult for a general manager to keep that really talented core together and then populate the rest of the lineup. I think part of what helps a general manager with this, if you look at the makeup of rosters now as opposed to 10 years ago, 10 years ago you'd have a fourth line, sometimes a third line made up of veteran guys, grinders. I think of a guy like a Rob Niedermeyer as his career went along. He became a really pretty solid bottom six forward who made a good living there. Now, when you look at it, your player of that nature is usually a kid. They're third, fourth liners now. It's usually a talented, speedy player. They have to be solid defensively, but it's a lower cost thing. So rather than pay $3.5 million for a veteran to be on that third or fourth line, you have to reallocate that cap money, and it's going to go to a kid on an entry-level contract to free up that other $2.5–3 million difference so that you can keep everybody else together. Basically what I'm saying is with these free agent classes and with the amount of money we can agree that these guys are going to get paid, teams are going to continue to get younger and younger and younger, which means the league will get faster and faster. And as a side effect of this, we may see an even faster erosion of fighting from the game, and we may see a further drop in hitting because, again, your third, fourth liners are no longer those big bruising type. The Edmonton Oilers right now, with the line of Lucic, Brodziak, and Kassian, that's kind of a throwback. That's not really the way teams are doing it very often anymore. But the thing is, if it works really well for Edmonton, and if they get into the playoffs and that line's able to help them out in the playoffs, then we'll see teams trying to recreate that because teams will try to recreate the success of other teams. It is a very interesting time to watch hockey. It's a very interesting time to follow this kind of stuff. And you guys can let me know which one of those guys is going to get paid big money. Because Rantanen right now leads the league in scoring. Marner is an assist machine. Braden Point has been fantastic for Tampa. Matt Tkachuk, one of the top point producers for Calgary. Sebastian Aho, the star of the Carolina Hurricanes. Timo Meier, on pace for about 45-50 goals. Patrick Laine, he can score 5 goals in a game. He can score at will. Yeah, he goes through cold streaks, but he's very young. Austin Matthews, he's going to make about $12 million a year. It seems to be the thinking, and it could end up being more than that. Remember, Connor McDavid, when he initially wanted to sign that contract, it was for 13. I think it was 13.5, and he signed for $1 million less. Once it got out how much he was going to make, and people said he was really greedy, so he gave $1 million back per season to the Oilers so they could have that money to help build a team around him. William Karlsson, probably going to get paid because he's an excellent two-way forward, and he's capable of scoring 30 goals. And Brock Besser's absolutely dynamite for Vancouver. I have no doubt in my mind that when Brock Besser sits down with the Canucks, the starting point, I would think it'd be $8 million. And then, of course, with the Canucks as well, you've got Elias Pettersson's going to be up in a couple of years. And with Goldobin, how much money is he worth? He's getting a lot of assists. He's not getting a ton of goals. And depending on who you ask, either he's a really useful, skilled forward, or he just kind of is lucky to be on the line he's on and playing with the guys that he is. And that's how he's getting his points. Let me know. How do you think this affects the game? And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tap it upon this video. I was going to try to come up with actual numbers, but you know what? We're not going to agree necessarily on the numbers. I do think that the Nylander contract, that $6.9 million, I think that means that everybody in this list is going to make more than that. Because I would argue that as talented a forward as William Nylander is, based on current stats he's put up to this point in his career, all of these players could be argued as being more important to their teams and thus end up earning more money than William Nylander. So it definitely bumps up. And I would say there are a few guys in this list as well that you could make an argument that in certain ways are better players than Nylander. But there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. And hey, tonight we're going to see Letterkenny, so the review will probably be a little bit late, but I have a chance to go see Letterkenny live, so I kind of have to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.